think it is.
Yay, okay. Hello, everybody. As you notice, we're here. We have some wonderful music guests today. On drums, of course, is Guy. On saxophone, Yuval. And on piano, Tamir. Here we go.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. הנה 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 מנגינה שמתחילה למות, מנגינה שמתחילה במי במול, אבל רוצה לגדול ללה במול פמינו, מחפשת למוצא והנה היא עולה עולה. לא ידעתי שתברח, לא ידעתי שתעוף רחוק כל כך, לא ידעתי שאותי תשכח, תתחצף ותענה, הנה הנה הנה. הנה 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 מנגינה שמתחילה לאט, מנגינה שמתחילה במי במול, אבל רוצה לגדול ללה במול פמינו, מחפשת למוצא והנה היא עולה עולה. לא ידעתי שתברח, לא ידעתי שתעוף רחוק כל כך, לא ידעתי שאותי תשכח, תתחצף ותענה. לא ידעתי שתעוף רחוק כל כך, לא ידעתי שאותי תשכח, תתחצף ותענה. So this song was Hine Hine, which is in Hebrew here, here, or there, there, kind of. And it's basically about a melody and about a song, and how uplifting it is, and how beautiful it is, and how it sometimes goes away and sometimes it's here with us. So that's basically what the song is about.
And we have one more. No. Leave the other one.
This one is Makom Ledaga, which is literally means a place you kind of worry about, a place you care about. In the lyrics, I'll say it shortly. At the end, or at the edge of the sky, at the end of the desert, there's a little place, little flowers, a little place, a crazy place, place you care about. And in that place, the flowers are very, very special, and you care about them. It sounds better in Hebrew.
Go for it.
בקצה השמיים, בסוף המדבר, יש מקום רחוק מלא פרחי בר, מקום קטן, עלוב ומשוגע, מקום רחוק, מקום לדאגה. אומרים שם מה שיקרה, וחושבים על כל מה שקרה. אלוהים שם יושב ורואה, ושומר על כל מה שברא. אסור לקטוף את פרחי הגן, אסור לקטוף את פרחי הגן, ודואג נורא. בקצה השמיים, בסוף המדבר, יש מקום רחוק מלא פרחי בר. מקום קטן, עלוב ומשוגע, מקום רחוק, מקום לדאגה. אומרים שם מה שיקרה, וחושבים על כל מה שקרה. אלוהים שם יושב ורואה, ושומר על כל מה שברא. אסור לקטוף את פרחי הגן, אסור לקטוף את פרחי הגן, ודואג נורא.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please welcome to the Bema Reverend Dr. Keith Cox.
Good morning, everyone. Is my mic working? Can you hear? No? Okay, good. We are on a new audio program this morning, so it's going to be some testing hearing that. Hi, everybody. Happy Sunday. How is everyone today? Good. I don't know about you, but I am so excited to have our 3 Israeli plus 1. Well, plus a half right now. He's going to, wait a second. All right, hold on. Now it's 3 Israelis plus 1. So it's Tamir Grinberg, Andy Belling, Yuval Sorkin, and Guy Azulay. So happy to have them here. We've all been working quite diligently to have them here, and we've been waiting for Guy, as an Israeli, to return from Israel. And so he's back, and so happy to have him back with us. So good morning to all of you, whether you're here live in the room. I can tell which ones of you that are alive in the room. And those that are watching us online, let's say a big hello to them. Hello, live streamers. And our Facebook Live people that are watching us, that Sarah's got the camera on, a big hello to them. And so it's Bring a Friend Sunday here at CSLLA. If you're a friend that's been brought along as a Bring a Friend, raise your hand. So welcome to all of you that are here for them. We're happy to have you. I love it. That wasn't the dance we had planned. So anyway, so we're a metaphysical-based, new thought-based community known as the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. And we come together every Sunday morning here at our home at 1200 North La Brea Avenue to connect together, to find time to commune together and honor that which is the same within all of us, which is the one power of the divine. We are a spiritual-based community. You will hear spiritual terminology as the morning unfolds, some that you may be familiar with, some that you may not be familiar with. We're not a traditional Christian-based. We're obviously not Jewish either. So you may hear God referred to in a unique form relative to what you're used to. So I invite you to open your mind and open your heart and just be ready to go on this journey that we're here together for an hour and about 8 minutes, and which will be a time for you to step into the vision that our community holds for each and every individual, and that we're here to support, which is finding your personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. And so we celebrate you on your journey here today and your entire journey of life, and know that we honor that within you, which is that oneness of life. And we're happy to have you here with us today. And so we welcome you. And as our beloved founding minister, Dr. David Walker, used to say, we welcome one and we welcome all. And so we kick off our service every Sunday morning with a ritual. And it's an opportunity to hear some music that the song is called Calling in the Light, to be taken through that ritual of lighting the candles, acknowledging the qualities of the divine that exist within us, and then a call and response piece by the musicians that you'll get a chance to sing along. And lastly, you will hear what's called spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer. And it's prayer in the method that we use here at CSLLA, which is affirmative and declarative, not asking for anything of that power, believing that we have it already within us. So I'd like to invite to the Beamer our practitioner of the day who will guide us through this ritual, named Jim Everin. And our illuminator du jour is Reverend Lenore Edney. So let's bring her up and enjoy.
Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love, calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love.
The ritual we perform this morning is called Calling in the Light. Today we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all people, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Purpose of this ritual is to draw into our gathering this morning a conscious awareness of our oneness and the qualities we possess as complete expressions of the divine. As we feel the vibrations shift during this experience, may we become ever more aware of the light of life that exists in and all expressions of life. This includes you and me. The quality of the divine we use today in our ritual is peace. Let's use this acronym of the word peace during the ritual to create an opportunity for each of us to embrace our light in a more expansive way today. Okay, let's begin. P stands for purposeful, which is defined as having or showing determination or resolve. May we each be live to our spiritual awakening with resolve to play a role in the co-creation of our lives through our mental and emotional actions. That's P. And now you know you're going to light for E, which is energy. In the book of The Science of Mind, Dr. Holmes defines energy as a divine and unfailing attribute, and consequently, there is never any lack of it. Today, may we each commit to using our energy in productive and life-enhancing ways. A, third candle, is illuminated for the word activation, which is defined as the action or process of making something active or operative. Today, may we consciously make active our thoughts, actions, reactions, and interactions in and as life reflecting the innate peace within all beings. C, now Lenore lights that fourth candle, and that C stands for conscious. Synonyms for the word conscious are awake, aware, alert, responsive, sentient. In this moment, may we each tune into our ability to be aware and commit to living our life awake and alert to our ability to impact the world and consciously evoke peace with each thought and action. E, Lenore lights that candle, and E stands for evolution. Dr. Holmes defines evolution as the passing of spirit into form. Traditionally, it is defined as a process of gradual, peaceful, progressive change or development. Today, I affirm for all, as a result of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening, progressive changes and developments are manifesting in and as all, as spirit becomes form. Purposeful energy activates conscious evolution, peace. Now, moving to the sixth candle, it is known as the healing candle. And we ask you to think of anyone who you'd silently like to put into the light of this healing flame to experience the eternal and everlasting love of the divine. Let's also think right now of Jenny Ventris, our wonderful congregant here, who we are placing in this golden light of healing, and all is well with Jenny.
I am love.
I am love.
I am peace.
I am peace.
In my heart,
In my heart,
I am free.
I am free.
I am spirit.
I am spirit.
I am soul.
I am soul.
All together,
All together,
we are whole.
we are whole.
Calling in the light. Calling in the light. Calling in the light of love. Calling in the light. Calling in the light. Calling in the light of love. And so it is. And so it is. And so it is.
So it is. And in this moment of peace, of connection, of love, let's have our spiritual mind treatment. When we hear about peace and all of the letters and all of the thoughts that come from what peace is, we realize peace is not just the absence of trouble or turmoil or violence. It is an active element of life. It is that stillness inside, that feeling that belongs to each one of us. And we have that ability to call on that feeling, that stillness, that trust that life is good, that we are good in it, that the trust that the world can be a better place, starting with each one of us, showing kindness, showing thoughtfulness, showing compassion, experiencing that wherever we are in this place today, in our moment of this understanding, of this vibration of peace. We go with it, we accept it, we move through this and go outside. When we meet people here afterwards, we send that energy. It's an energy of peace. There is an active quality to it, and we allow that to move through us and create a better world in every aspect of our lives. We're grateful we're able to do this, to have this actual feeling of peace to emanate from us and to allow it to flow to and back into us. We have that flow of life, of energy, and of peace. We're grateful that this is true, and together we say, and so it is.
Thank you, Jim and Reverend Lenore, and musicians and each one of you. It may seem a bit odd that we clap here after we do affirmative prayer, but as I've said before, when in life is it not a good time to give applause, right? Didn't Lady Gaga do a song all about that? Mm-hmm. Excuse me, just like, do you want to do happy birthday now? So we're going to shift up something for just a second, and Andy has a gift he would like to give to someone. Do you want to call them out? You want to let them know who it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jesus?
Right, someone very special in our life that works really hard around this community. Today's his birthday, so we're going to... So don't hide, come forward. When have you been shy? Come forward. All right, hit it. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jesus. Happy birthday to you. Thank you. Good. All right. It's always good to be celebrated, right? It is. This is called the Sunday celebration service, so it's a good thing to do. So as I said earlier, I'm thrilled to have these four gentlemen here today with us, but specifically these three that are younger than most of us here, in the sense that I said all of us. I was being very inclusive in our seniority, and so. So, as I said, it's been a lot of energy put together to get them here to share their talent here, and it was a spark of an idea that took place in the parking lot one day with a conversation with Guy and I. So without further ado, I want to introduce them, but I want you to listen to the words of the song that they're singing next, which is not in Hebrew, so you'll understand it if you don't speak Hebrew, and it is tied in with the message that I'll give in just a moment. So, our four Israelis.
If I can reach the stars, I pull them down from you, shine it on my heart, so you can see the truth. And this love I have inside is everything it seems, but for now I find it's only in my dream that I can change the world. I won't beat the sunlight in the universe. You would think my love was really something good, baby, if I could change the world. If I could be a king, even for a day, I'll take you as my queen. I'd have it no other way. And I love my rule in this kingdom we are made. Till then I'll be fool, wishing for the day that I can change the world. I won't be the sunlight in the universe. You would think my love was really something I could change the world, I won't be the sunlight in the universe. You will think my love was really something good, baby, if I could change the world. Hey, hey.
Tamir Grinberg, Andy Belling, Yuval Sorkin, and Guy Azulay on percussion. Good job, gentlemen. Yeah is right. Maybe a new house band happening here. So indeed, we believe here in metaphysics and the practice of metaphysics that we do have the ability to change the world, right? Not necessarily the physical structure of Mother Earth and the universe, but certainly change the effects of the world that we live in, that change the experience that we have of the world that we live in. And that's done through our thoughts and our beliefs and our actions and our interactions with that one power that exists within us that we call God. And I talk about every Sunday that it matters not what you call it, but it matters greatly that you call it. And you call it often. And you call it by whatever name that you want to call it. And it still doesn't matter what the name is. It matters what your belief is in it, because it's unchangeable. It's impersonal, it's omnipotent, it's omnipresent, and it's all pervasive, and it exists by means of you and by means of me. And so if you don't like the world, the physical world that you're living in, we all have the opportunity to change that through our thoughts, beliefs, actions, reactions, and interactions. But I believe even more so that once we become awake to knowing that we know that we have this possibility, that it's our responsibility to then tend to our thoughts in that way. This week, we move into the second week of the season for nonviolence that we started last Sunday. That is a time frame from January 30th through April 4th. It's a time that's been designated by the Association of Global New Thought to empower individuals around the world, and I believe that right now it's in 70-something countries where there are communities around the world that are, during this block of time, taking not only the weekly themes but the daily themes to consciously use their mind to shift the consciousness of the individual, ultimately shifting the consciousness of humanity to invoke that change that Tamir was just singing of. And so, it's been one, I've done it once. The rest I got it right. So today, I'm going to talk more to you. My caffeine just kicked in. I had an extra cup of tea back there a while ago. So I'm going to talk to you today about this continuation of living in the world as a conscious, non-violent individual. So let me frame for you first what non-violence is. Non-violence is considered the personal practice of being harmless to the self and others under every condition. It comes from the belief that hurting people, animals, or the environment is unnecessary to achieve an outcome, and refers to the general philosophy of abstention from violence. Now, this may be based on one's moral, religious, or spiritual principles, or it may be purely strategic or pragmatic reasons. We're approaching it here at the Center for Spiritual Los Angeles from that spiritual perspective. I'm not here to speak to you regarding religion or morals, but I am here to speak to you in regards to your spiritual nature. So what are those spiritual principles that I'm speaking of today, whereby you will have an effect on the world that you live in as a result of what your choices are in life? Well, one is the oneness that I've already spoken of, that there's only one power that ever takes place, that's ever in any existence at all in the universe, that we are each one with it and as it, and it gets its expression for us, through us, and that's the only way that it can work. The other is that we live in a universe that is governed by spiritual law. Much like physical law, that gravity works whether you want to consciously use it or you forget it does and you fall on your buttocks, right? It still works the same way. Well, that's the same thing with spiritual law, that we experience the results of our consciousness whether we're awake to using our consciousness or not. that spiritual law of cause and effect, the law of attraction, the law of reciprocities, there are a multitude of individual laws or labeled as individual laws within the one law of life, which is creation is always taking place, and it is labeled as co-creation by means of us, the individual, through our thought. All right? The third component of that is that consciousness matters. Our consciousness matters, and from the action of nonviolence, it matters on our understanding and use of our consciousness in relation to our connection to humanity. So the term nonviolence is often linked with or used as a synonym for peace. We've already addressed peace this morning in our candle lighting. And so we talked about this last week, that it's really wonderful that we all imagine that peace can exist, right? We've heard the song, the John Lennon song. There are many other songs about, oh my God, if I drop down on my buttocks, cross my legs, get in the Om position and Om, peace, that there's a great hope that it will happen. But yet in the 21st century, we're awake and alert to know that that's not enough. That's a great place to start. But what we're called to do is to use our energy of the divine that is within us, that's the E, in a purposeful way, right? Meaning that we use our thoughts to not only think regarding peace, but to engage in peaceful activity in the world. And in so doing, that activates conscious evolution. Well, why is conscious evolution important? Because it's important for us to evolve to a higher vibrational field of consciousness should we desire to have a different experience in the world. Because if the world that we're experiencing is unsatisfactory to us, we're experiencing it at the vibrational frequency of consciousness that we're in at the moment. Thus, we need to shift what we have mentally to change what happens on the outside. Does that make sense? Yes. Good. The caffeine is now working for me. All right, so here we are in this period of time celebrating Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King. And so why is it important to look at them relative to this act of nonviolence or engaging in peace? Well, if for no other reason, it's through the Gandhi quote of, we have to be the change that we desire in the world. If we want to change the world, we know how to do it. Martin Luther King speaks of Gandhi in this way. He says, Mahatma Gandhi was inevitable. If humanity is to progress, Gandhi is inescapable. He lived, thought, and acted inspired by the vision of humanity evolving toward a world of peace and harmony. We may ignore Gandhi at our own risk. Now, I love the part of this quote here is that he lived, thought, and acted inspired by the vision of humanity evolving toward a world of peace and harmony. He's not saying that that's going to absolutely happen and then we're done. And it probably can't happen that way because as sentient beings whose nature is contemplative and because all of humanity is always acting at the level of their consciousness, it's more than likely probable that there are going to be people on this world, which could be one or more of us in the room, by the way, at some point that forgets that we're peaceful by nature. One of our congregants and board members says she loves when I talk about what it's like to sit in traffic in Los Angeles. Anyone ever have that experience? Well, most often in traffic in Los Angeles, I'll speak in the I am. I am not peaceful, right? I'm not nonviolent. I'm not even always purposeful. And yet, as an awake, alert, spiritual being, I know that behavior that is creating a lack of peace, that behavior that's calling someone on the other side of the glass a name, right? That behavior of clenching the steering wheel is not causing peace. And I also know that if energy has a ripple effect, it has to go out and hit somewhere, right? So yet I forget in that moment. That's what Gandhi's talking about relative to holding that vision and working towards it in evolutionary fashion. But we're talking beyond the steering wheel here in the nonviolence approach to life. What we're talking about is looking around the world that we live in and asking ourselves, where is injustice taking place? Is there injustice in the world? Last week we talked about we don't have to go much further than La Brea Avenue to see it. It's visual. It's in front of our very face that there is indeed injustice taking place. And what do we do when we see it? Do we pretend as if it doesn't exist and walk away? Or do we stop and issue pity for the individual that was there? Or do we have the capacity with our mind to own our mental capabilities and to acknowledge each and every aspect and expression of life from that place of namaste? By looking at each individual of life, no matter how they're dressed, no matter what their financial conditions are, no matter what their social conditions are, no matter what their mental state is, as a full, complete expression of the divine. And if we don't believe that they are a full, complete expression of the divine, we are not engaging in that oneness of a spiritual principle that I spoke of earlier. The thing about the teachings in metaphysics is there's no area for gray. There's no area for gray. We either live in a world that is one. It either is all God or it isn't. The power either is unfailing or it isn't. We either express it by means of our thoughts or we don't. And the spiritual laws that we live in are either there or they're not. You guys get that? It's literally that black and white. Now that scares the bejesus literally out of a lot of people because it puts great responsibility on the individual in how they live their life. And yet, if you don't look at that as a weight, as an opportunity to step into your own conscious evolution, then you're more than likely, and I'm not saying you per se, the individual, set yourself up for great failure. What we're called to do in this teaching and what we're called to do in this philosophy and this faith of life is to tend to our thoughts and our beliefs and our actions and our reactions and our interactions in life more than ever, day by day by day by day. In many ways, it's like many recovery programs where you focus on what's in front of you and you take it one step to the next step to the next step at a time. And if you have what you call a misstep, you take a step backwards, take a very deep breath, and exhale, and say, I forgive myself. I forgive myself because I am that I am, that I am the full and complete and whole expression of the divine. That doesn't change, ever. That doesn't change, ever. So the question that we have before us is, where in life are we engaging in injustices? And what exactly are injustices? Well, here are some synonyms for them. It's inequity, corruption, brutality, tyranny, exploitation, repression, bigotry, favoritism, partiality, one-sidedness, discrimination, intolerance. Need I continue? If we become awake to how we engage in just one of those on a daily basis, we're doing our part to move into a field of conscious evolution, and in so doing, shifting how the effect of that ripple effect as it takes place through life. I was with some friends yesterday, and we were off on a great adventure, and we were having this conversation. They were asking me what I was speaking about today, and I was telling them that. And we were literally in traffic. Funny that came up again, but in traffic, asking ourselves, we were looking out the window and saying, where do I see injustice in the moment? And what am I willing to do about that? When I walk my daily life, where do I see it? And what am I willing to do about that? Well, why is that important to us? Because one of the great scriptures, one of the great laws, of the great teachings of the universe tells us to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And that's not telling us to react that way. It's saying purposefully do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And I would say raise that to an even higher vibrational frequency and be with others as you would want them to be with you. To be a conscious, purposeful, awakened being of light that you are. That's not something that your opinion can change. The Mosaic Law parallels that in a different way where it says, whatever is hurtful to you, do not do to another person. Well, how do we step into this activating peace in our life? Well, the Dalai Lama tells us to do it in this way. He says, although attempting to bring about world peace through internal transformation of individuals I'm going to start again. Although attempting to bring world peace through the internal transformation of individuals is difficult, it is the only way. He says peace must first be developed within an individual. And I believe that love, compassion, and altruism are the fundamental basis for peace. Once these qualities are developed within an individual, he or she is then able to create an atmosphere of peace and harmony. What he's telling us there is that we can't go out and seek to live in a world of peace if it doesn't exist within. And what's fascinating and fabulous about that is you have to do nothing for it to exist within you. Nothing. And you may say, well, that's BS. And it is. It's your belief system. It's what it is. Because the truth is, peace as a quality of the divine already exists within you. Now, you have to do a lot to bring it out. But you don't have to do anything for it to be there. It's there within you just as is power and beauty and joy and light and life and love and wisdom. It's all there within you. It's within you already. And yet we forget that oftentimes. And as we forget that it already exists, it makes it really difficult then to see it in someone else. It makes it really difficult to have it as an experience of life if we're not aligning ourselves with the very thing itself that is caused to that experience, which individualizes itself through us. And one of the great ways to call it, as I said earlier, to call it often, is to call it by those qualities. If we don't want to say to ourselves, I am that I am the power of God, Keith Cox, I can say to myself, I am that I am the peace and the power and the beauty and the joy and the light and the life and the love and the wisdom of the only thing that exists. And because I know that, I'm choosing to go to that place deep within my soul that I know, that I know, that I know, that I know, and I'm letting it then move into my consciousness and stir things up and bring itself upward through me as it evolves into that higher state of consciousness that is the me. And I release it out into the world so that the ripple effect that is the wake behind my thoughts, my beliefs, my actions of life itself shows me in form that the very thing I am is in front of me. But that can only happen when I, the individual, you, the individual, choose to step into that which you are and let it out. Now, what that may require for a lot of us is forgiveness. Because oftentimes we think that we are a result of our actions and our thoughts and our beliefs over life. Has anyone ever done anything in life that you think you might need self-forgiveness for? I can name 3 things for some of you right now. No, I'm just kidding. 4, no. But the problem is that we don't want to forgive ourselves. We think that forgiveness is all about forgiving others. But it's not. Remember, for us to see that in front of us that we desire, we first must own it for ourselves. So the key is to stop and forgive ourselves, which was our theme last week, self-forgiveness. And it was defined as this: knowing that who you are is greater than what you have done or not done, have or don't have. Today, forgive yourself for forgetting the good that is you. Today. And then do it later today. And then do it tomorrow, and then do it in the middle of the day tomorrow, and then do it at 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock and midnight, and then do it on the hour the next day. What does that require? That requires spiritual practice, or that requires motivation to evolve consciously if that's what we're here to do. You know, Zig Ziglar tells us that people often say that motivation doesn't last. Well, he goes on to say, well, neither does bathing. That's why we recommend it daily. What we're being told there is it's really important for us to tend to not only our physical hygiene, but our mental hygiene, our spiritual hygiene. It's important for us to tend to taking care of that which brings out the best of us. To look at it not only as this journey of finding your personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening, but look at it as, I like to look at it as a spiritual experiment. I have said before that when I said yes to stepping into this role in this center, I started to say church, I made a commitment to myself that I was not going to let the details of all of this weigh me down, that I was going to look at every day of this journey as a spiritual experiment, to ask myself, do I really believe what I'm preaching? Am I really engaging in what I'm telling people to do? Am I really learning what I'm teaching? All of those questions are a part of my daily practice, and I'm really proud of the outcome of that because I believe I am. I'm not saying that out of ego. I'm saying that out of, I know that in my life I've benefited from doing these talks every Sunday and teaching the classes because it's held a mirror right up to my face. And the question is, when the mirror is there, I need to ask myself, do I like or love what I see? Not necessarily about whether I have gray hair in my beard or my cheeks are fatter than they were 6 weeks ago or whether my hair is probably, none of that, because in the morning it ain't pretty. By 11 o'clock it is, but in the morning it ain't pretty, right? But it doesn't matter if it's pretty on the outside. What matters is am I tied into the beauty that already exists on the inside? Marcel Proust tells us that the real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. That's really what this entire journey of the Season for Nonviolence is all about. It's about choosing to have new eyes, not necessarily just the visual eyes of how we see the world, but how that we see the world that is within us. By turning our vision to an inward vision of allowing ourselves to go in the crevices of our mind, which allows us to go to the crevices of our soul. And then if we don't like what we see, then do what we need to do to change what we're seeing. It, as an effect, is not going to change until we change. I'll never forget when I stepped into, at the time, which was a Church of Religious Science, one of the most powerful things that spoke to me was sitting down and hearing Dr. Kennedy Schultz saying, if you want to change your life, change your thinking, or change your thinking, change your life. It was so contradictory to what I had heard all my life, which was you need to behave in a certain way, and if you behave in a certain way and believe in a certain way, then that man that's in a marble chair in the sky might or might not approve of you, so you're always being tested, and you really don't have a whole lot of say in the whole process, which I thought was just nuts, right? But I eventually found a place that I knew was different for me, and it was really about, I get to step into my spiritual evolution. I get to define for myself what the power G-O-D is. I get to decide for myself what world I want to live in. And that's a result of being mindful of my mental activity. So today I invite you and I encourage you to step into a greater sense of mindfulness, which is a mental state that is achieved by focusing one's awareness on the present moment, while calmly acknowledging and accepting one's feelings, thoughts, and bodily sensations used as therapeutic technique. In other words, become awake to your thinking. Become awake to your thinking. That's the only way you can change it, right? If you don't become awake to it, you're not going to change it, or it's changing for you, which is not what we want it to do. And so today we step into the second week of our Season for Non-Forgiveness, and you have a bookmark in your chair, and it's on reverence. And so the definition for this reverence is this week, go for a walk and realize the beauty around, above, and below you. What we're being told here is to do just what I was speaking of, mindfulness, to choose to be aware as you take that one step to that next step, to that next step, to that next step of your personal evolution. Do so by choosing to acknowledge not only the beauty or the peace or the power or the light or the love or the wisdom or the joy that exists within you, but tap into it. Tune into it. Feel its vibrational frequency. Feel that power within you, and then see it in the outer world. Let your external circumstances reflect your internal awareness, and in so doing, you will indeed change the world. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to have back our musicians, Yuval on sax, we have Guy on percussion, Andrew Belling on keyboards, as well as Tamir Grinberg. Ladies and gentlemen, our musicians.
Georgia, oh Georgia, the whole day through, I just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. I said, Georgia, oh Georgia, the whole day through, oh, just sweet and clear, oh, it's moonlight through the pine. Other arms reach out to me. Other eyes smile tenderly. Still in peaceful dreams I see. Oh, the road, oh, leads back to you. Georgia, oh Georgia, the whole day through, I just an old sweet song, Georgia, my. I found just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Yeah, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind.
They're all they're talking about, like,
Thank these people. Wonderful. Wonderful. Now, I don't know where these things are, but we'll find them. Are they in here? We've got announcements. Now, what are they? I'm sure they're here somewhere, but I'll kind of fake it here. We have Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock. I don't know where they are. I'm looking for them.
Yes, Wednesday morning, 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Dedication.
oh.
I thought they would be
You want me to
here.
just do it?
Oh, yeah, why don't you do it?
All right, so we're going to let Jim stand with me as I do it. All right,
Because
so
8 o'clock in the morning.
I did
know
say
that.
to him, do you want me to print? No, stay. I was like, do you want me to print those for you? He goes, no, I have them.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to channel Jim Every, right? All right, so a big thank you to our practitioner of the day, Jim Every. And to the one and only illuminator who also made and gifted to you the bookmarks that you're getting weekly, Reverend Lenore Edney. And let's remember to send her love and light and energy on Wednesday as she's having a small procedure that she would love prayer for Wednesday morning. All right, so know that. And then we want to give a huge thank you to our musicians this morning. Tamir Grinberg, who I do think is a spiritual example of don't judge a book by its cover, right? Which leads us to Andy Belling, who has quickly removed the facial hair. So Andrew Belling, our co-music director, who worked really hard this week on pulling this together. So thank you, Andy. And a big thank you. We love having this one here. Mr. Yuval Sorkin comes and plays his sax for us. And Mr. Guy Azulay. So happy to have him back here. Love having you guys. And I believe the three of them have known each other for a while, right? Certainly the two of you have known each other for a long time, so we love that. Love, love, love that. All right, and a big thank you to our setup team, Jesus Ernesto Reyes, who's also his birthday. And a big thank you to our new audio director here, Travis Smith, who's back there working hard on getting fine-tuning it all. And our board member today on duty is Dr. Sheila Hughes. She's in the back at the welcome table. Please feel free to see her. And if you have any questions or constructive ideas, is how we prefer to have it framed, please do so and give her that. And we just ask you, if your constructive idea might have a less than pretty tone to it, make sure you balance it with something you love about our center. So thank you to all of you that are here today, and thank you for those that are new here. Thank you. We hope you've enjoyed it, and we hope to see you again. Are you running away? You said you like to be up here. Hang on. Hang out, baby. All right, so events. Here's what's taking place. Wednesday morning, we have the guided meditation that's online. Feel free to join us. It's from 8 to 8:30. That information, as well as all of our information, can be found on our Facebook page or our Instagram page, or you can get it off our website, which is csl-la.org. So you can find that information right then and there. Then on Friday, we continue with the Spirit of Dance class, which takes place at the what's the name of the theater? The Hollywood Dance Center on Highland at 11:30 to almost 1 o'clock. It's $15. It's a great time of coming together for community to shake your groove thing and have a good time. It's a little bit of a workout and lots of fun. Our 55-plus group called Noble, which is read by Reverend Lenore, takes place at the end of the month every Thursday. And then Wednesday night, I'm continuing. We're now into our third week of what's called Build a Healing Consciousness class. It's from 7:15 to 9:30 in this room. We're looking at the foundations of the teachings of the science of mind in a new, fresh way, right, everybody? It's kind of new and fresh, isn't it? New, fresh way, and we're looking at spiritual practice at the same time so that you are, you have the tools that are required to fulfill what I'm calling you to do on Sunday morning. All right, so that's that. I think those are the announcements, except for follow us on social media if you're a social media person. So
You took the words right out of my mouth.
you know, all I can say is it's one of my many gifts. So, all right, so it's now time to give of your financial good in a loving way to our center and know that we both thrive and love the income, which then supports us in not only fulfilling our commitments in life, but we're a tithing community, so we turn around and propagate that out in the form of gifts to the world. So I invite you to do that. Your methodology of giving is through cash and or check through one of the ushers that'll come around. If you'd like to give by means of some electronic format, you can do that through the credit card by seeing either Sandy or Sheila in the back at the welcome table, as well as you can go to our website, which is cslla.org, and click on the donate tab, or the app in the App Store, CSLLA, and that'll take you through as well. Your giving is welcomed on a Sunday morning and every other day of the week. So we're open for business during that time. Did I miss anything, anybody? I think we got it all covered, right? All right, so take your donation, please, and place it close to your heart. I'm putting my mobile device, because I used the app this morning. Actually on Friday, but I did it. And remember to put in, not take out. And so if you feel so compelled, close your eyes in your mind's eye seeing what you're giving today as being a tool for shifting the world that you desire to see changed. That this is one act of that change. And then see it circulating throughout the world and coming back to you, multiplied. If you feel so compelled, repeat after me. Today is the day. I choose to be awakened. I choose to engage in my thoughts in a way that reflects my beauty and all other qualities of the divine. So I give of my good with purpose and intention, trusting with every fiber of my being that it returns to me multiplied abundantly. And when it does, I meet and greet it with an open mind, open heart, and open arms. And so it is. Thank you.
'Tis the gift to be simple, 'tis the gift to be free, 'tis the gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend, we shan't be ashamed to turn. Turn will be our delight, till by turning, we come round right.
Thank you, Andy.
Can I say something? Thank you. I'd like to tell you next week we have the fabulous jazz pianist Stuart Elster and a rhythm section, so that is going to be cooking. And please tell your friends, March 3rd, we're going to have this young man again. He will be here, so bring your friends to hear him. Thank you.
Wonderful. Yes. Thank you. All right. So I got it in under an hour. Wow, not even an hour and 8 minutes. So that's the trade-off for those days. It was 11:20 when we walked out of here now. So a big thank you to all of you who are here today. I just know that you're loved and you're celebrated and you're appreciated no matter where you're at on your journey of life, and hope to see you through these doors again and bring friends if that works for you. And it's just really fantastic to know that you're consciously engaging in your journey of life, whatever that looks like, whether it's in through these doors or just walking life itself as an awakened being. So I appreciate you all for being here. Know that there are lots of sugar and flour products for you to eat in the back. Feel free to engage in those with some coffee. That'll be both inside and outside. And as we are continuing on our practice of being kind to Mother Earth during this time as well, we just ask you to only use one coffee cup at a time. So that's that. I don't need to explain anymore. Let's close with a spiritual mind treatment. So as we close today, we do so with a deep sense of gratitude for the opportunity to have come together today and to commune in community. We hold our beloved members and all that are a part of this community in deep sense of reverence and gratitude. I speak the word right now of Reverend Edward Brown, as we know he's having surgery this week, and that's done with grace and with ease and in the light of the divine. So I know for each of us, as we move forward today and begin to walk the pathway of life anew, as each and every pathway is, we do so with a greater sense of tenderness for ourselves as spiritual beings. We engage in life with our eyes open wider in the physical sense, and with the eyes that are from within, the eyes of the divine, we allow that to illuminate our pathway, trusting and knowing that what we see before us is a reflection of a changed mind, and knowing that that activity doesn't have an expiration date, that it's infinite by nature, and so we choose to step into our evolutionary thinking, knowing that the law of life responds because that is its nature. Spirit responds by corresponding. And so we're grateful for that activity. We're grateful for the opportunity. We're grateful to be alive. We're grateful to be here today. We're grateful to be able to look into the eyes of the divine, whether that's the individual before us or looking into a mirror. It's all the same thing, the activity of God. We let it be, as we say together. So it is. Thank you all. Have a great Sunday. Much love. Namaste.